Hello and welcome to Connected episode 406. It's made possible this week by our sponsors, SourceGraph, Bombas, Indeed, and Ladder. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Myke Hurley.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Oh, and I am joined by Federico Vitici. Hi, Federico.
Hi. Hello. I'm also here.
I forgot that I had to do the next bit. You think I would have gotten used to this by now, but I haven't.
I was waving at the wall as I said that. Hi. I'm here.
Hey, Big Money Hackett.
Oh,
How's your Kickstarter going?
it's good. Let me look. Let me go to this link.
Can you hear us over the sound of money?
$31,638. Yeah. Cha-ching.
Ching. Yeah, 734 backers, 3 weeks to go. So you got till August 5th to go back it. And I'm on track for it to be bigger than last year, which is amazing.
Bigger Money Hackett.
Thank you to all 734 of you. But there's a lot more of you out there who haven't backed it yet. So go get on it.
Steven is inviting you to fund his Kickstarter campaign.
I am. Come with me on this journey of creation.
I got an Instagram ad yesterday for something. I don't know what it was. I can't remember, but it said such and such account invites you to follow them. And I was like, oh.
My favorite, but also least favorite part of Instagram is when they do suggestions of people you should follow. And it's like so-and-so, comma, whom you may know. It's like such a weird bit of copywriting.
Well, because they're not sure, right?
They're Facebook. They're
know.
sure.
They think you might know.
They're sure.
Or maybe, they know. They just don't want you to know they know.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
They're like,
exactly
I
right.
don't know. Maybe you met them sometime. I don't know. How could I know? I'm just Facebook. I don't know. That's how they go.
That's how they go. Public betas are out. Federico, y'all had a trio of stories over on Mac Stories covering iOS and iPadOS, macOS Ventura, watchOS 9. What is sort of your sense of the state of these betas, and is there been anything surprising so far as more people have jumped on board?
Like I said in the story, I think things are pretty okay on the iPhone. On the iPhone side of things, there aren't that many, obviously, in Apple's own apps, which is a bit surprising. I was kind of hoping to see them add more widgets for their own stuff. But they're working...
On the lock screen, do you mean?
On the lock screen, yes.
Right.
Lock screen widgets. But they're working, and the multiple wallpapers system is working. I think things are a bit more rough on the iPad with Stage Manager on iPadOS at the moment. Like in terms of stability and performance, I still get like daily like soft reboots of the iPad. Like it doesn't actually reboot, the springboard just crashes. Or like external display support is kind of unusable for me at the moment. In that whenever I try to do something with an application that has multiple windows open, usually one on the iPad, one on the external display, the thing just crashes. And I think last week I found a way to reliably and consistently crash the iPad when using an external display. So I guess my advice would be, if you want to really try out Stage Manager, fine, but keep in mind that if this is your only iPad that you're also using for production work, it's not super stable right now. And you still have the occasional, or maybe not so occasional, weirdness with Stage Manager if you're using the kind of app like Obsidian, for example, that is not super native or doesn't really use all the latest and greatest iPadOS APIs. You may be in, not for a bad time, but for some adjustments.
You're in for a beta time. This is what happens. So.
Yeah.
Hey, I was using Google Docs today with Universal Control. I was typing stuff into Google Docs on my iPad, and the suggestions bar was floating halfway in the middle of the screen, like the little, what do you call it, the quick type bar? I don't even know if it has a different name now. And there was no keyboard. That was just floating there. And then when I moved my keyboard kind of back to my Mac, I got just the top row of software keyboard popping up but only in the application. It wasn't outside the application window.
Yeah.
It was just in the application. Yeah, I mean, why not, right?
Why not?
I mean, type some numbers, that kind of stuff like that. It's good for me.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff happens. Overall, though, like I'm using it and it's okay. Like it is making me faster, Stage Manager. I mean, as I wrote in the story, but yes, some apps are not that fun to use. Overall, like I already have seen one example of a friend of mine who's not into like usually like tech stuff, but he saw the beta on my iPhone and he got really curious, and then I explained I'm actually working on this article for Monday because like the public beta is coming out, and on Tuesday he showed me that he had the public beta up and running on his iPhone, and he said like I couldn't resist because I really want. Well, that's the thing though, like I think lock screens, like multiple lock screens with widgets, they're really gonna resonate with people.
It's good
year.
looking.
So
it
is.
Love how my lock screen looks. Like I got the time set up, like I'm using the New York font. I think it just looks like so good. It just looks so good. I think you may have mentioned this in App Stories, I don't remember, but like, and I agree with you now. Like I wasn't sure at first, but I think this is going to take off again because you can't. The widgets aren't the thing that's making the like aesthetics this time. It's actually what Apple's given. So like between the clock and the depth effects and the colors that you can put on things and like the kind of filters you can put on images and stuff, I think people are going to really, really dig it. And then they can also add a few little widgets. But like there isn't really as many options for the aesthetic stuff, I feel like. Like you can't make widgets look a different color and stuff like that. But it's going to help, but I think that people are going to really dig it. I think it's going to be pretty popular again. Yeah,
I agree.
We're going to, later on in the episode, we're going to talk about some of our favorite features of iOS 16, just some little bits and bobs. But I did want to just touch on the fact that I think you are both running the watchOS beta, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why?
I
General curiosity?
Yep. That.
And is it bad? Good? What is it like? Is it okay?
It's okay.
The beta is basically fine. I haven't had any real stability issues. I've only been running it a couple of days, so it's still early for me. The battery life definitely isn't amazing. I'm still making it through a day, and I've got whatever the current big size watch is. What is it, 44 millimeter? I forget the numbers.
45?
72?
I don't know.
I have the 72 millimeter. That would be huge, like a dinner plate on your wrist.
You got an iPad on your wrist.
Yeah.
My watch says 45 on the back. I took it off to look.
Okay, then that one.
It says a lot of things. 45 millimeter stainless steel and ceramic case, sapphire crystal, GPS, LTE, WR-60M, Apple Watch Series 7. I just read the whole thing to you.
Oh, that's good.
Do you remember that time when there was that like prototype that showed up on eBay and it had really weird letters on it and we made it the episode title?
I do. That was good.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, all right. So, but why did you both do it? Like, it was just curiosity for you, Federico. Was there any specific reason for you, Steven?
Yeah, I take my job seriously. I want to see what the betas are doing.
That's unnecessary.
Weird flex. Do you consider the Apple Watch part of your job? Like, is that?
No, it's not. Yeah, I don't have an Alex to cover the Apple Watch for me. But yeah, I mean, I was curious as well. I also wanted to see what the they've changed some of the design stuff where like the notifications are like teeny tiny banners that come in from the top, which is super weird. I don't like it that much because I think they're easy to miss.
That's the best part. No,
really?
Oh,
I love
interesting.
them.
So this is just when you're doing something on the watch, right?
Yeah.
The little banners are small?
I think it's any time the screen is in the sort of awake mode.
Yeah, so like if you're doing something.
Yeah, or like looking at, I mean, and I get it, so it doesn't occlude what you're looking at. It's just kind of strange. But, and we'll talk about it in the next section about iOS 16, but the watch is sort of the part 2 of the medication feature, and it's its own app on watchOS, and it's nice to have those reminders there. But it's not a huge change. I mean, watchOS has kind of been like the structural elements. They've moved around so much in the beginning. Remember they had like glances in the beginning, and then they had the dock.
Oh my God, what were glances?
Wait, what? What's that glances?
Wasn't it glances?
Yeah,
I remember the word.
Oh, what were they?
They came up from the
what is
bottom. And
No, what are you talking about?
yeah,
WatchOS glances. By the way, it was 88XX Bane. That was the.
that's right.
No.
Here we go. I found an
Glances.
article from 2015 about glances. Basically, it was like a scrolling horizontal list of kind of what the dock is now in WatchOS, but a worse version of it because it was early days. But over the last couple of years, they've settled down in terms of where things are. And other than like the medication app and the new notification style, it's pretty much what it was.
Man, this is. I don't remember this
No, me neither.
at
No.
all. I do not remember this feature, this glances feature. Huh.
It may have only been a year. I mean, it was. Remember, like the first couple of versions of WatchOS, they were just moving stuff all around, trying to figure out what it was.
Siri watch face?
Siri, exactly. Siri
That's
watch.
I
still a
used that
thing.
for a while. Yeah, still a thing.
That-
I used it for a while, but they don't do
Yeah.
anything to it. It's just because there's a new watch face that I really want. It's called the Metropolitan watch face, and so I've been like toying around putting the beta on my Apple Watch just to try that watch face, but like I don't know if I'm committed to this idea yet. I might give myself a treat to wait, like I'll wait until September
Sure.
and give myself a little treat.
And I'm definitely still making it to the end of the day. I mean, it's not like it's 6 p.m. and my watch is entering low power mode, but I'm definitely, before I was ending the day at 50% battery or something, it may be 35% now or 40% now. So it's definitely using a little more power. That's very common on the betas. The iPhone beta for me in particular has been pretty bad in terms of battery life, but they always improve that as they go. So I'm not worried about that long term.
I have one more question for you both. Have you tried the haptic keyboard on
Yes.
the iPhone?
I enabled it right away, and I love it.
I enabled it, and I turned it off.
No.
Yeah, I don't know
No.
what it is. I just I tried it, and then all of a sudden I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
No,
and then I stopped.
you gotta give in to it. You just let it be for a while, and then you just get
All
used
right.
to it.
I'm
And
going to
it's
turn
fun
it back
because,
on
like,
again.
It's like you're touching your iPhone to type,
Uh-huh.
and the iPhone is touching you back. You know,
I don't-
it's fun.
That's not what I want from it. I mean, I always like it on Android phones, and I don't know why I turned it off. But I'll turn it back on again then, and I'll see how I feel.
Where is it?
It's in a weird part of the operating system. It's in sound and haptics,
Yeah, it should be in keyboard.
Yes.
keyboard feedback, and then there's a toggle for haptic.
All right, I'm going to try it.
It's in like 2 levels of places you don't expect it to be.
I know. Just try it for the weekend and see if it lasts.
I'm gonna try again. We can report back.
So Federico, you guys have this trio of stories. Some point in the fall, you're going to have a set of reviews, full reviews of these OSs. What's the relationship between like these public beta impression stories, which y'all have only been doing for a couple of years, with the full review? Like, does this make the review process easier? Do you feel like you're locked into something you said earlier? Like, what's the relationship there?
No, that's a good question. I think it's a way for me to start setting some themes, some concepts, and it actually makes the review easier because then you have something that you already said. So you already have like a discussion that's already been framed in a certain way, and you can say like, for example, in July I thought such and such, but turns out that I still agree with that, or that things have changed. Like you've already established a narrative, and that makes it easier when you're starting a huge project. Like you're not starting completely blank. There's already something that you've already said, so you can start from that, and that makes it easier, at least for me. And also, technically speaking, it makes it easier because, I've been doing this for, like you said, for a few years now. Some of the things and like some of the sections will actually be reused in the review. This is something that I've done before. We had this conversation a few years ago, like what's the point of rewriting the same thing over and over if you've actually already written the thing? So some sections will serve as sort of like the basic structure of a chapter of the review, for example. So I know that I can reuse, if not just the actual, like the whole block of text, but if anything, like the the order of things, the structure of things. Like when I'm talking about Stage Manager, first I'm explaining what it is, and then I've explained what it does in this and this way. Like that also helps the making of the review. Which I haven't started yet. So it was fun to, but I've seen, for example, like that story that I've done for the public beta, I was able to get it done in 2 days. And that's 8,000 words that I've written and edited in 2 days. So I think over time, what I'm realizing about me is that I work better under very intense pressure and super close deadlines. And that story went really well and people really liked it. So that's something that's different about me in 2022, I guess, than in, when I started Mac Stories. I used to hate deadlines, and it took me like weeks and weeks to finish like even an app review. But I'm not like that anymore. I prefer having the looming deadline, over me. So yeah, that's something I learned, I guess.
Federico's going to start the iOS review on September 1st. That's when he's going to open up Obsidian for the first time.
Well, you joke about, it may not be September 1st, but it's definitely going to be August. So we'll see.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by SourceGraph. So you've hired a brilliant developer. That's great, but now you have to work to get them onboarded. If your company is growing, onboarding new developers is going to be a common occurrence. But it's a big undertaking each time. Because one of the biggest challenges for new hires is getting up to speed with the project their new team is already working on. This can be tricky if the code bases your developers work in are already large. Thankfully, SourceGraph makes it easy to move quickly even in big code bases. Developers know that knowledge is most useful when it's findable. Centralization is helpful, but given the fact that most companies store knowledge in at least 2 different locations, how do you make knowledge accessible to those who need it if that's your situation? SourceGraph is a code intelligence platform giving developers what they need to drive their own learning over time and in different situations. Teams without SourceGraph rely on asking colleagues, reviewing out-of-date documentation. Those things are cumbersome and time-consuming. With SourceGraph, every developer can search across millions of repositories to find specific code, saving time for themselves and everyone else. So when questions do come up, it's the big stuff that's worthy of the extra time. SourceGraph was created to make developers' lives easier, and today they work with leading companies across every industry, including 3 of the 5 top tech companies, plus PayPal, Uber, Plaid, GE, Reddit, Atlassian, and more. Visit about.sourcegraph.com to learn more. That's about.sourcegraph.com to find out why some of the biggest tech companies in the world use SourceGraph and to see what SourceGraph can do for yours. Click the link in the show notes to let them know you heard about them from us. Our thanks to SourceGraph for their support of the show. So we're talking a little bit about public betas, and I wanted to dive in a little bit more to iOS 16. This is one of those years where I feel like the iPad is sort of taking a lot of the spotlight, obviously, with Stage Manager, but there are a lot of cool things in iOS 16. We've talked a lot about the lock screen, but I'd like to go a little bit past that and talk about some of the other things we're enjoying.
I wanted to talk about the search screen. So there's a couple of things going on with the search screen that I enjoy this year. As well as it still being accessible via the pull down, there is also that button where there used to just be the little dots. There's now a search button. I like that they've put something in that space because it's been wasted space on the iPhone for years. So if they're not going to make it so you can put another row of app icons, which is what I would prefer, then you may as well put something there. And I've actually been finding myself hitting the search button on the home screen as well as doing my kind of like instinctual pull down. I think it's just fun to have. But I like a few things about this screen. I like it feels nice and fast, which is good. And it has some like genuinely good contextual stuff. So right now on my search screen, it says connected started at 5:30 and it has a button that says join connected and it says will take me out to Zoom. It knows it's a Zoom call. And it also says turn on do not disturb, which I realize now I had not turned on do not disturb. So the phone is good for me, right? It's giving me information that I want. it's showing me some, like it had in the past, it's showing me recent conversions and stuff like that I've got going on in there, so I can convert some stuff. And I had something pop up recently, which I had my AirPods in, and it said usually at this time, and it was to resume in Overcast. Like, I feel like this is some stuff that's existed before, but they have way nicer, I think, compressed it. And I think are showing it to me in a way where I am, for once, which I feel like is quite rare, thinking, oh, this computer is quite smart. Like, it does know what I want, and it is giving me what I should be doing in these moments. So I'm appreciating it for that.
Yeah, I'm really liking the new Spotlight as well. Like the faster access on the home screen is really nice. They've also fixed, both on the iPhone and the iPad, the problem of running shortcuts from Spotlight. At least I think they fixed it. So it used to be that either Spotlight was super slow in finding your shortcuts, or it couldn't find them at all. Like sometimes, actually so many times it happened to me in iOS and iPadOS 15 that I typed the exact name of a shortcut in my library and Spotlight just couldn't find it, like at all. Now it finds the thing I'm looking for. I think they're doing something to rank those shortcuts based on how many times you run a specific one, if there's multiple matches for your search, but I'm not 100% sure on this one. But still, what's nice about this is the combination of reliably and quickly finding your shortcuts, but also when you run those shortcuts, they're so much faster than before.
Oh, I love that. I love how fast that is now.
Shortcuts are so much faster, but when you combine that with Spotlight, and especially on iPad or on the iPhone, as you mentioned, from the home screen, just swipe down, type, run, done. And you're out of it in 4 seconds. That's so well done. It's very nice.
Yeah, I'm really liking that. I do have a weird thing. Like, it's always strange stuff in betas. For the last week on my screen here, it just says slate gray.
Did you search for slate gray at some point?
No. I'm sending you both a screenshot.
Okay.
It's there right now. This screenshot I took a couple of days ago is still there.
Slate gray.
It just says slate gray, and then underneath says slate gray, and it has a little box next to it that I guess is slate gray, but I tap it and I can't do anything.
Slate gray.
That's weird.
That's really strange.
That is strange. I searched for the Ecobee app a few nights ago on mine, and it is like stuck as the only suggestion in this screen. It's like every time I pull it down, it wants me to open the Ecobee app. It's very excited about being in there.
Slate gray.
Slate gray.
Slate gray.
Overall, I like this, and I think you're right, Myke. They have tried this over the years. I mean, there's been some weird ideas around this. Like, do you guys remember probably iOS 8 or 9 or 10, sometime in there, they would put app icons, like where the flashlight is on the iPhone 10 class of phones. It's like you would go into Starbucks and like the Starbucks icon would just appear on your lock screen in the bottom corner, and lots of weird ideas around surfacing things in different areas of the OS. And I really think this is the best place for those things. And I think this is some of the best stuff they've done where, Myke, you brought up the example of like join the connected call, go and do not disturb. I've had very similar things suggested to me that are exactly what I wanted to do, exactly when I wanted to do them. And I don't ever really remember being impressed with this stuff from Apple in the past, but it really feels like whatever they've done this year to improve this stuff, I feel like it's gotten way, way smarter and way better.
Yeah,
it's still hit or miss for me for some things. Like a good example that I saved because I wanted to remember this. So on the new lock screen, the system suggests, rightfully so, a lot of photos featuring Sylvia. Right, because the system guesses that this person is in thousands of photos over the years, and you're always together. So I'm gonna assume that you want to see this person in your wallpaper suggestions. Great, but how can the same system that makes that suggestion, right, therefore sort of infers maybe that this person also associated with this contact, you talk to this person on iMessage, and you live together? How can the same system also suggest, and I saw this a few days ago, for Sylvia's birthday, that I make a phone call to her to wish her happy birthday?
Yes. Okay.
Like, why? You make really clever suggestions on one side, and then like, what? You think this is like my grandma or something that I'm gonna make a phone call to her? Like, hey, I saw that it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Like, and the suggestion said, as found in your contacts, call Sylvia to wish her happy birthday.
Which is a good feature, I guess,
Yeah.
right? To surface that stuff. But then also, like, understand me. Do I ever make phone calls, iPhone? You're the phone. Do I ever use the phone app? No. No, right? Like, maybe send an iMessage to Sylvia and wish her happy birthday. You know, we could try that. But no, I know what you mean. Some of that stuff is like, the problem with all of these things is when the device is always trying to seem like it's so smart, and then it gets things so wrong, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always find that to be such a funny thing, and it makes it more glaring when it does get wrong. But anyway, slate gray.
Something I like, the new medication tracking in the health app. This is something that has allowed me to stop using for tracking medications the Due app, because it's so much nicer. You can set it up in health. There's also a standalone watch app for medications, but what is cool is that you can basically search on the iPhone. You go into the medications section of the health app on your iPhone, and you search for a specific medication. You can search now. Okay, this is necessary context. I'm using my iPhone with the US region. So I'm assuming that the results I got for medications I never heard of were based on the region in my settings. But I just searched for a regular like vitamins and I got the generic result. But I think based on Alex's overview on Mac Stories, I think the idea is that by searching for the specific medication by brand, you can make sure that there are no weird interactions between the medications you're taking and, for example, things like alcohol intake, also tracked in health. Like, I think that's the idea. But yeah, it wasn't finding Italian medications for me. What I like is, so the watch app, which I mentioned, you can log medications and staking on the watch. But there's also the notifications on your iPhone. And, those are rich notifications with a little preview and the actionable buttons like log as taken.
Cute. You got the little icons and stuff.
You got the little icons and you can choose the little shapes and colors of the medications. It's fun. I like it.
There's some medication shapes in here that I didn't know existed. Like, here's a heart with a line in the middle. Oh, okay.
As medication if you have a heartbreak. Yeah, it is a really nice feature. You can customize a bunch of it. You can export a PDF out of health with your current medications, and it has your name and date of birth and stuff at the top. You know, a lot of times if you go visit a doctor, you've got to provide this. I would like a little more control over the reminder of it. So if you get a notification, then you can log the medication as taken or skipped, and then it records the time of that into health. So if I go back yesterday, I can see exactly what time I took medication. The only way to snooze it, though, is to say, remind me in 10 minutes. And I, like a lot of other people, including you, Federico, am coming from Due, D-U-E, which is this reminders app that its whole thing is reminding you constantly until you do something. And so I had my medications in there, and I said, hey, if I don't respond to this notification, send me another one in 15 minutes. And I would like a little more insistence from the medications app until I interact with it. I mean, I have them set as the time-sensitive notifications, but I would like even more presence because if I have a bunch of other notifications, the medication one can kind of get lost. I would like something a little more in my face about reminding me. But all in all, I think the feature's great. I love the way you can customize how they look, and you can set the background color so you can very quickly at a glance see what's going on. And then in watchOS 9, it is its own application, which is something we've seen between iOS and watchOS in the past, where a sort of big iOS app may get broken down into several smaller watch OS apps. Like if you look on your watch, there's like find items, find people, find devices. Like it's kind of funny they broke Find My into 3, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, what all went into this to get it over the finish line, but I'm really glad it's here because it was a big oversight in the health app. It seemed like such an obvious thing they should have added. And I think all in all, they did a pretty good job of it.
It's interesting because I don't have the ability to search for medication. I have to just manually enter all the information in. There's no searching for me. I guess they have this as a US
baby.
only.
Yeah.
So I can add all the information in manually, but I have to add it all in myself. So I'm not going to get those like these medicines clash or anything like that. And also it's just like everything's manual. I have to add in the strength of the medication, all that kind of stuff.
Make sure you don't accidentally add the US medications, otherwise they're gonna charge you. So microtransactions in health for American users.
I'm gonna sign you up for subscription plans here, pills.
I mean,
they are honestly, how far are Apple away from doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
How far away are they from doing that?
As soon as I said, I was like, oh, I just made a really funny joke, but then reality hit me and I realized, well, I can actually sort of see that. So, yeah. Anyway.
I want to talk about the Now Playing screen.
Okay.
So they have the new full screen Now Playing is what I'm talking about. The so on the lock screen, now when you're playing audio, it takes over your entire lock screen. Like the artwork is full and large. It slides under the clock, of course, and changes the color of the backgrounds. I actually really like this feature. I expect it's going to be pretty divisive, and I think Apple knew that. It's very easy to get rid of it. You just, in case you don't know, by the way, if you just tap the artwork when you're on the lock screen, it shrinks, and then you can tap it, and it's in the little live activity, and it will come back and fill up the lock screen again. I think that's kind of cool. I think that it does. What I like about it most is how good a job it's doing of showing content from Overcast for me. So I'm getting the artwork. I get chapter artwork. So if there's a chapter that I'm listening to has specific artwork, that changes. And so I see the chapter artwork large, which is great because it's bigger than anywhere else you would see it, really, which is kind of fun. And also it shows chapter names in the live activity. So I think all of that is really really good. I don't know what they're doing or how it's being displayed to the system, that it's working so well with third-party apps that I don't think have done anything to be specific about it, I don't think. So yeah, I just thought it was really good. I just like the design too. I just think it looks really, really nice.
And they get rid of your lock screen wallpaper and they replace it with a smeary color thing based on the color of the artwork. So if I'm listening to app stories, it's blue and purple, but if I'm listening to, the Pen Act, it's warmer colors to match that. It is really nicely done. I tend to be using it small and not the full screen, but it is nice that it's just a tap away. I mean, when Myke, you shared a screenshot of this a few days ago saying how much you liked this. And I was like, wait, how do you do that? And I was digging through settings and you're like, no, just tap the artwork and it goes in between. That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I think it's really good. I think why not just do something with it? But yeah, I also just in general, just seeing that and the clock live activity, I'm getting pretty excited for that. Whenever that will come, you get
Yes.
delivery stuff and all those kinds of things. I don't want 6 notifications for one thing anymore. So I'm excited about that.
Have y'all come across the new timer UI on the lock screen?
Yes.
The live activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. I like that it's orange, which is fun. In an earlier beta, there was this really dramatic transition every time a second counted down on the timer.
Oh, they got rid of that?
Yes,
it was good because
it's much calmer now.
It was the numbers would kind of get all blurry as it went from one to the other.
It was
But
weird.
the issue was the animation was getting cut into a square, even though it wasn't a square shape.
Yeah.
So it would transition and it would try and make this poof kind of thing around it, but then it would hit this wall and the animation would end.
It was weird.
So it looked terrible.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
It's way, way better now. All in all, I think this new style, this new live activity style, seeing what Apple's done with it, I'm with you, Myke, definitely makes me excited about what this is going to be like once third parties can do it. And that's not at launch. That Apple said that's coming in a later version of iOS 16. So that's not going to be, in Federico's initial review probably. But when it shows up, I think it's going to only do more to make the lock screen not only more useful, but like more tidy as well. One thing I had missed until Federico heard you talk about on App Stories is that you can condense your notifications to basically a bulleted list. Can you explain this?
Yeah, so that's the new compact mode for notifications. So by default, notifications now sort of roll in from the bottom of the display. They don't just come up in the middle of the lock screen, and that's because they want to free up some space for you to see widgets and your wallpaper. Makes sense. But also, if you want, you can minimize the notifications at the bottom, and you can do that by swiping them down on the lock screen, and they become like this little badge at the bottom, basically. That right now, for example, for me, it says 2 notifications, and you can tap that, and it'll show you your notifications again. And if you don't want to see them again, you just swipe them down, and they minimize. I believe there's also a setting. There's a setting to do this. So if you go into notifications, display as count. It's called a count mode. So you have count, stack, and list as the new 3 display settings for notifications by default. And it says, pinch the notifications list on the lock screen to change layouts in context. So you can also pinch, I suppose. Yeah, and it works. It's kind of weird to do on your iPhone with 2 hands, but you can also pinch. My theory is that this count mode will be the default for the always-on lock screen on the iPhone. My theory is that on the iPhone 14 Pro, with the always-on lock screen, you will see the time, your widgets, and the count for the notifications. Because that's just the bare minimum amount of stuff you can probably see in always-on lock screen mode.
I'm going to try this. But when you pull up, they just show up as normal, right? In Notification Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When you pull up, Notification Center is unchanged, still looks the same. This is just for new notifications, right?
Right.
And there's also the distinction that needs to be made between regular new notifications and what are they called? Persistent notifications. Those that won't go away, like reminders, for example. If you're set to have persistent banners, those will not go away. They will stay pinned on the lock screen, just like the medication reminders. They are persistent notifications, so they stay sort of there, anchored at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, you have 3 new modes, and I like the count one because then I just see the wallpaper.
Count notifications. It's like Count Dracula. And he like sneaks in and he's like, you have 2 notifications. Like that. That's count notification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your mom is trying to reach you.
Have you ever seen the joke in the Shortcuts app for the count action?
No.
I don't think so.
Open Shortcuts. Open Shortcuts, create a new shortcut, and search for the action called count.
Okay, shortcuts, new shortcut, search, count.
Check out the description for that action.
This is just like the count in Sesame Street, but instead of a vampire, it's a shortcuts action.
That's cute.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. It's a nice Easter egg.
This episode of Connected is made possible by Bombas. Bombas' mission is really simple. They want to make the most comfortable clothes ever and match every item sold with an equal item donated. So when you buy Bombas, you're also giving to someone in need. Bombas designs everything they make, socks, shirts, underwear, all to be the clothes you can't wait to put on every day. Everything they make is soft, seamless, tagless, and has a cozy feel. There's a pair of Bombas socks for everything you do. They come in tons of options, like comfy performance styles made with sweat-wicking yarns, which mean your feet stay cool while the rest of you works up a sweat. And their no-show socks are designed for comfort while being specifically engineered to never fall down. So let your ankles be free to soak up that sunlight. Bombas t-shirts are made with thoughtful design features like invisible seams, soft fabrics, and the perfect weight so they hang just right. Bombas underwear is breathable, fits well, and has a barely there feel that might make you forget they're even there, but in a good way. This is really cool. You talked about how Bombas wants to help those in need. Socks, underwear, and t-shirts are the 3 most requested clothing items at homeless shelters. So Bombas donates one for every item you buy. And so far, Bombas customers like me and you have helped donate over 50 million items of essential clothing. That is awesome. You can learn more and get a 20% discount off your first purchase at bombas.com/connected. That's bombas.com/connected for 20% off. Bombas.com/connected. Our thanks to Bombas for the comfy socks, their support of the show, and all of Relay FM.
So as we're recording this, tomorrow the MacBook Air, the M2 MacBook Air, goes on sale. Be available for some people who pre-ordered. 5 people who pre-ordered will get them tomorrow. It's like a golden ticket kind of situation. Tim Cook brings it directly to your house. Federico will notice, like with the Gabe Newell deliveries with the Steam Deck. That's what's going to happen for all MacBook Air deliveries tomorrow. Stephen, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So, do you know who Gabe Newell is?
No.
So he kind of created he's like the head of Valve and Steam and stuff. I walked past him once in a hallway. We spoke about that once. So imagine he's like, well, you don't have to imagine. He's like the CEO of Valve and Steam. You know what that is, right?
Yes,
Valve
of course. Yeah.
There was a selection of Steam Deck orders that he delivered personally in a truck. And they made a video about it. And what's great about the video is most of the people did not know who he was.
That's awesome.
And it was just very funny. It was very funny. So that's going to happen with all the MacBook Air orders. Anyway.
Wait, who at Apple is going to deliver them that people don't know?
Tim Cook.
But people know Tim Cook.
Maybe not everyone.
It's Jeff Williams.
You know? Yes, Jeff Williams or John Turnus.
Could be. I'd accept a delivery from John Turnus.
Yeah, you would. Anyway. The design. People like the design. Reviews are out now. People like the design, obviously. And seeing it now in video, watched a couple of videos today, I'm very excited to see one of these computers. They look so good. It looks so good. Being just like no more wedge anything anymore, just like a really thin MacBook Pro. I like it.
Yeah, the machines are definitely cut from the same cloth. Evans Hankey and some others did this interview with GQ in the UK about it, and there's not a lot of great new information in that, but they talk about how they developed these machines at the same time. And if you watch the videos, I've watched a bunch of them, but I don't think any of them really capture like how much it in person looks and feels like a squished down MacBook Pro.
Oh, here he goes again, Federico. He's like, oh, I've seen it. I've touched it, you know? Here he goes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that for a little while.
There was this really cool hands-on at the Steve Jobs Theater that a bunch of us got to go to.
There? Oh, yeah. Where was I?
Thank you for reminding us.
Where was I?
I don't know. You were watching TV or something.
I must have gotten lost that day. There's a couple of quotes that I like from that interview that Evans Hankey gave. Evans Hankey is like, they are in charge of industrial design. They're one of the 2 people that took over kind of Johnny Ive's role when Johnny, who is now completely gone 100%, see you later. They cancelled their thing with Love From, which probably never existed, really. Anyway, Evans Hackey says, we don't really have to play any kind of games with shape or form to make it look thin. And I think that's one of the most lovely and remarkable things. It's quite honest and simple. I appreciate that. Like, that's talking about the wedge, right? Like, the old wedge used to make the MacBook Air look thinner than it was because it was super thin on one side. It's that teardrop design kind of thing. We don't have to do that anymore. They could just make a thin laptop. And then speaking to what Stephen just said, Hankey says, it was the first time we ever set out to do a family of products together. Now, that seems like a statement that I can't believe. I mean, she said it, so it must be true. But, like, that seems...
Oh, no, we have 2 computer lines. When did this happen?
That seems really weird, right? But I guess maybe they don't always redesign them at the same time. Like, I think that might be the difference, right? That, like,
I think so.
You can borrow from other designs, which they always do. It's like they make a product and then other products borrow from that design. But I guess they sat down and they were like, all right, we're redoing the laptops. And they did all 3 of them at once, because it really does look the same. But there are differences which are interesting to me. So there is no MacBook Air branding anywhere on the MacBook Air.
Yeah, not even on the bottom where the MacBook Pro, it's debossed into the aluminum. Maybe it was some sort of issue. They couldn't do that on the bottom case. I think they just wanted to make something super clean. And I am glad the branding is gone from underneath the display. That's come and gone over the years with different machines and different designs. But I'm glad that it's just super clean and minimal. And I mean, the Apple logo is bigger on the back, and there's a funny shot in some of the reviews comparing like old MacBook Airs and the new one. The Apple logo is just so dominant on the back. But other than that, it's basically nothing saying that it's a Mac other than, oh, it looks like all the others.
So the design looks really good. I've seen people talking about the fingerprints that get all over the Midnight one. Seems like it gets very fingerprinty.
That was definitely true in the hands-on. Like Apple people were like wiping them down in between people touching them. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with COVID. Even then, the Midnight one was just fingerprinty. And I was a little surprised by that because the Space Gray doesn't really do that badly. But there's something different, I guess, about the Midnight, the color or the finish, something about it. It really shows them. So I think the Midnight looks really cool. And if you look in the videos, I mean, the folks doing these initial reviews, I mean, they all have great lighting and everything, so you can really see what it looks like. It is pretty, but that's going to be the trade-off. And for me, as a not trade-off, I would want. I don't like the color so much that I'd be willing to put up with the fingerprints.
No, but it's pretty.
I would still go Midnight.
Me too. It looks
so
too pretty.
Good. It looks nice. It's the other ones. I've seen these colors before. You know, I'm bored of them. Give me the blue one.
I mean, life's too short to care about fingerprints. You know,
Exactly.
Give me the pretty computer. Yes.
What am I worried the FBI is going to come after me? Right? Because they can get my fingerprints off the laptop. Like, what's the problem? You know.
The other thing I didn't realize physically about this machine, I didn't even like pick up on it. Again, in the very exclusive and cool hands-on we had.
How many more times are you going to mention it? This is 3 times now.
This is so unnecessary. And
3 times you've said it now.
There's no speaker grill on this machine. So on the previous Air, they were super skinny, down the sides of the keyboard. And even on the 14 and 16, that's where they are. Now, here's the secret, dear listener. That's not where the speakers actually are. In the laptops for the most part. Like on the MacBook Pros, they're basically at the very bottom of that grill, but they make the grill big to make it look nice. This MacBook Air, the speakers are where they are on the chassis, are sort of where the exhaust vent is, like in the inside of the hinge. So when you open the machine, if you look down in there, there's openings to let air and heat out. The speakers are in there somewhere. And so the sound sort of just comes out of the laptop. And in the Verge video, they have the M1 MacBook Air, the M2 MacBook Air, and then the 14-inch MacBook Pro. And the new Air is right in between the other two in terms of sound quality. It's not as good as the MacBook Pro. Like, just as an aside, the MacBook Pro speakers are so good for a laptop.
Yeah.
It's silly how good they are. The M2 Air isn't quite as good as that, but if you're coming from an Intel MacBook Air, they're going to be substantially better. And again, it's something that cleans up the look of the machine. And I think actually makes the machine look a little bit more modern without all the laser burned holes in the aluminum. It's just clean and sleek. But not as good as a MacBook Pro speaker-wise, but I think for what people do with a MacBook Air, it's going to be more than good enough.
I think with the MacBook Pros, it does help balance out the design a little bit
especially the 16, you got to have them on the big one.
Because there'd be those just wasted weird space down the sides. But there's nowhere to even put them on this MacBook Air. Like, what, you put them like next to the trackpad? That would be so weird to have the holes there, right? So like I like it. I just think it keeps the kind of aesthetic of this design going, which is just this like very clean, very futuristic looking laptop. Steven, I want to get your kind of feelings on the M2 discussion. Like there's a lot of talk about like thermal throttling compared to the MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
And like how warm the machine can get, and just like general performance conversation.
Yeah, so as we know from the M1 generation of machines, that MacBook Air and that MacBook Pro basically operate the same way until you get to really heavy sustained workloads. And then the single fan that turns inside the MacBook Pro gives it just a little bit of an edge when it comes to those longer sustained workloads. So in the real world, that means exporting a video from Final Cut or Premiere, maybe doing a big build in Xcode, bouncing a project out of Logic, right? Where this gets complicated is that the difference between these two machines continues into the M2 era. And at the edge, where you're really pushing sustained workloads, the difference is a little bit greater between the Air and the Pro, where people have seen the M2 MacBook Pro, the 13-inch, they have seen that thermal throttle and get pretty warm. And that's happening a little bit more quickly on the M2 Air. In my estimation, this is not a big deal at all for a couple of reasons. The biggest is that we have to remember the trade-offs for this machine were made with the customer for this machine in mind, right? So this MacBook Air, while you can certainly buy it and certainly run a YouTube career off of it, I don't think that's what Apple has in mind for this product. If you are going to do big development projects, you can totally do it on this machine. It's just that the 14 and 16 are better suited with the trade-offs they make to be thicker and heavier with much better cooling. So you've got to kind of pick what trade-offs work for you and your workload. And for the vast majority of people who buy a MacBook Air, if they ever run into this, it's going to be extremely infrequently. If you're buying this for knowledge workers, if you're buying it for students, you're buying it for home use, even if you're buying it for like what I use my laptop for, which is basically just going around on the web doing admin stuff for our company and very occasionally editing a podcast, I don't think I would ever hit it. And it means when you watch these reviews and you see like, okay, we ran Cinebench for 30 minutes. Yes, the MacBook Air is going to be slower in those tests than the Pro because of the cooling. And it's important to know that. But for most people, most of the time, it doesn't matter. And so I don't think it's a big deal that this machine throttles before the Pro. I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised that it's a little bit bigger of a difference in the M1. This is a more powerful chip with more cores. But I don't think at the end of the day, I don't think you should make a buying decision based on this unless you're in the situation where the Air is all you can afford. Then like you just need to know that, yeah, you are making this trade-off at the very edge of performance. But like I said, for most people, most of the time, not a big deal.
Apple did confirm to The Verge that this has, I would say, an issue that the M2 MacBook Pro has. The base models of both the Air and the Pro only has one storage chip on it, like one NAND flash chip on it for the SSD. So the storage performance, like the read and write, is slower than the M1 base models. So this is only on the base models, and I assume that this is a supply chain thing. But this came out as a thing that the M2 MacBook Pro had, and then I expect that The Verge asked Apple, because in Dan Seifert's review, he mentioned that Apple confirmed to them that was the same. So it is a bit, I think that is one thing that I think people would feel more. I expect, right, if the read-write speeds are slower on the SSD than they were even on the M1 models. That's a frustration. But basically, I guess it's if you can make any upgrade on this machine from the base model, I would assume probably the storage would be the best one for you now, considering this limitation.
The SSD speed thing is a problem, and it's a decision that I wish Apple had made differently, because when you're talking in terms of like what makes a difference performance-wise day to day, disk speed is basically the top of the list, and that's a real bummer to see that the base model of both of these machines, that those users are going to get penalized, not only for having an SSD that's probably too small, but for having one where the performance is cut so badly. That's a bummer. And I agree with you, Myke. If you're in the market for one of these, I would not do that base storage. If at all possible, upgrade it. Not only so you have more breathing room in terms of space, but so you also don't get stuck with those slower disk speeds.
The problem is that turns a $1,200 computer into a $1,400 computer.
It does.
Right? Like that's the issue, right?
Yeah.
And that is a thing that like people are pressing on. I get it, the price, right? It is more expensive, and it's one you can point to, especially when the old one's still around. But I think that if we think about Apple's last attempt at a thin and light $1,200 computer, right, which is the MacBook, this is clearly a vastly better machine for the money. And
oh yeah.
I was expecting that people were either going to say this is a fantastic laptop or it's way too expensive, and it feels like people were more leaning on this is a great laptop than pushing on the expensive part, because things are better, right? Like the camera still isn't great, but it's way better on this one than the previous one. You benefit from things like MagSafe, so you actually have 2 USB-C ports and a headphone jack, right? So you got more ports. The screen is bigger. People are not going to like the notch. People are always not going to like the notch, but like kind of whatever. The screen is bigger and brighter. And it just looks cool, and it's like got a lot going on for it. I think that 35 watt power adapter thing, people are going to love that. Like, I know that us as nerds are like, well, it actually isn't as powerful. And then if you plug a second thing in, you're only getting half the power to the laptop. I imagine you give that to somebody in your life and they're like, wow, I could also charge my iPhone at the same time. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I just feel like people are really going to dig it. So I think this is a great machine, all in all. I still want to get my hands on one. I have not ordered one. Steven, you ordered one, right?
I did. Yeah. So we have a silver one coming with the base CPU, GPU, but 2 terabytes of storage. And I was going to do 16 gigabytes of RAM, but I ended up doing 24. Because as I explained last week, this is basically like the last piece of the puzzle and like getting the rest of my family onto Apple Silicon. And I don't want to do anything else with those setups for a long time. So I opted for the 24 just for longevity. But it comes as early as a week from today. So that's like the opening of my delivery window, and it's open through like the next week. So hopefully I'll have some impressions here before too long. Beyond my hands-on impressions earlier.
Yeah,
Right.
At Apple Park.
Okay.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Indeed. Quick question for you. What would you do if your business had to hire great people really quickly? Well, you need Indeed to get that done, because they are the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. So instead of spending hours on multiple job sites, kind of hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you can work with one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US. One of the things that's really cool about Indeed is how they just know how to make hiring pain-free. Like how Indeed puts you in control of what you pay. You set your must-have job requirements and only pay for the applications that meet those requirements. There's a transparent flat fee per application, and you can pause your job posting whenever you want. Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring partner, delivering 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, according to Talent Nest in 2019. So join more than the 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed is doing something no other job site has done. Now with Indeed, businesses only pay for quality applications matching the job sponsored description. Visit Indeed.com/connected to start hiring now. That's INDEED. Indeed.com/connected. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Our thanks to Indeed for their support of the show and Relay FM.
Oh my God. What?
It's time for a quiz. I
Oh
found it.
no.
That's what I was looking for. I've been thinking to myself, what is the thing, like what will do it? And it's that St. Jude Play Live button, the hype button. It's time for a quiz. I enjoyed round 1 of Do You Know the Passionate Ones so much last week that I want to do another one. I'll just set the record straight here. I'm not doing another one next week because it takes 2 hours at least to get these quiz questions together, and I can't do it next week. Again, there are, I reckon, maybe 2 more rounds from the initial questions that I asked, so they will come at a future date. As a quick reminder, this is Family Feud / Family Fortune style rules. I put out a quiz to connected listeners to ask them a series of questions. I will be asking Stephen and Federico to guess the top 5 answers that were collected from the overall responses. So, for example, if I asked, like we did this last time, like, what was your first iPhone? And if you said iPhone 3G, that was the top answer, and Stephen got 50 points for that, and it carries on from there. There will be a selection of rules for each question, which I'll go through again as we go through them. I will give some people wrote in and said, why did you give 50 points as the top answer? Why not just do 5 so it's more in line with the previous scoring? So to people who ask those kinds of questions, who says that it will always be 1 point per answer?
Wow.
There could be questions that give 1,000 points in the future,
Oh my.
Who knows? Like, I don't know. There's loads of different formats we're doing here, and this is just the second format that we tried. So, boys, are you ready?
Yes, I think.
All right. So we got 5 questions again today, like we did last time. The first question today, actually, I'm going to do the coin flip first, right? Let's do the coin flip first, so I don't give you additional time to think about it. So we'll do a coin flip to decide who gets to answer first out of the 2 of you. Stephen, you're going to be heads. And Stephen, I don't know if you could hear that. My volume was quite quiet, but it was heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question for the passionate ones that they have answered today is, what phone do you use today? That was the question. What phone do you use today? Now, what we're looking for here, I will take model numbers, but no color or storage size variations.
Okay.
What phone do you use today? Stephen, you have the first answer.
iPhone 11 Pro.
Stephen, you get 0 points for that answer.
Oh. Oh, boy.
iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Federico? 40 points goes to you. That is the second highest answer on the board. iPhone 13 Pro Max. We go back to you, Stephen, for your second guess there.
iPhone 12 Pro.
Will he get back on the board this time? Yes, he will. That is the third highest answer. The iPhone 12 Pro was what you said, right?
I did.
Yeah, that is the third highest answer. That gets you 30 points.
Okay. iPhone 13 Pro.
That is the top answer. Teachy's playing the game today. That brings Federico up to 90 points. Federico's got the top and second answer. Stephen has the third most popular answer, and then also one that had nothing. So, Stephen, you have the next guess, please.
I was going to say, our audience, way newer phones than I thought.
Yes.
I'm going to say the regular iPhone 13.
That is not on the list, Stephen. You have lost out again. The iPhone 13 did not show up. I will go through later on and we can talk about where some of these came for you. But iPhone 13, not on there.
Man,
iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Federico? That is the fourth highest answer, netting you another 20 points.
Yeah.
Fifth one is interesting now.
Oh, something I forgot to do, by the way, was to give the overall scoring as we were coming into today.
Oh, yes.
So I'm just going to calculate that real quick because I have to remove some things from my incredibly complicated spreadsheet so I can go back to the scores as we started today. So as we come to the beginning of today, Stephen is on 312 points and Federico is on 451 points.
Okay.
As we start today.
Fifth most popular phone.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us the top four again?
I most certainly can. They are the iPhone 13 Pro, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, iPhone 12 Pro, and iPhone 12 Pro Max.
See, there's not even like a...
I found that really interesting, by the way,
Yeah.
that they split out like that it was exactly like Pro, Pro Max, Pro, Pro Max.
And the 11 Pro was not on the list. But I'm going to say the 11 Pro Max is.
Yeah, good guess.
The iPhone 11 Pro Max is not in the top 5.
Interesting.
The SE owners are back to get us.
Interesting.
Oh.
I do wonder
it hit me. It
if
just hit me.
the people bought a model thinking it may go away.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm
gonna
thinking.
go with iPhone 13 mini.
iPhone 13 mini Federico is not on the list.
Ooh, okay.
That was exactly my thought process, and I would have picked it next.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
I mean,
what else is there? Trying to think about like recent phones maybe people liked and wanted to like hold on to.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna shoot my shot here. The iPhone XR.
iPhone XR,
Yeah, fun.
not on the list.
People
Not on
maybe
the
wanted to
list.
hold on
Nice
to
try.
it.
Not on the list. Federico, I think you went. Yeah, you go now, and you get one more go each after this one.
okay. I'm gonna go with the plain iPhone 12.
The plain iPhone 12 is not in our top 5 answers. You have one more shot each.
Okay.
Jeez. iPhone 12 mini.
Is the 5th highest answer.
Oh,
Nice.
So Stephen will pull in an additional 10 points. So just to recap, Federico had 110 points from that round, and Stephen 40 points, as Federico got the first, second, and fourth highest answers. Stephen with the third and fifth highest answer. So some statistics for you. The iPhone 13 Pro accounted for 23.6%
Nice.
of the 1,200 people that answered. The iPhone 13 Pro Max came in at 13.3%. The 12 Pro Max was 6.6%. The 12 Pro was at 8.5%. I gave those in the wrong way round, but you get the point. The iPhone 13 mini was 5.8%, but the iPhone 12 mini, which was the one that made it to fifth, was 6.5%.
okay. Wow.
Then the lowest down, so what would have been the sixth answer would have been the iPhone 12, which is at 6.1%. Then it would have been the 13 mini. And then the iPhone 11 was 5.1%, which was the next one after that. That was a surprise to me. I don't know. That just carried on from there. The iPhone 12 had 6.1%. This is really hard to look at. I can't show it to you, but it's really hard to look at. Yeah, iPhone SE people are asking about. This was complicated because I had to combine all of the SE models because because people were writing them in. I couldn't feel confident in which model of SE people were talking about, but it didn't end up being an issue because it was only 2% of the responses. So
wow.
If it would have been higher, I think I would have tried to do something about that, but it got really complicated. People are asking, David in the chat is asking, were there any non-iPhones? Yes, there were a lot of Samsung phones, but it was like one or two, and it was various models. A few Xiaomi's and a handful of OnePlus phones as well. Someone using a Nokia 8.35G. I don't even know what that is, but one of those is in there.
Interesting. Okay.
And a handful of Google Pixel phones as well. There's a lot of vote splitting on those, really. You know, like because there's so many models of these phones, they split across. You know, that if they were more consolidated, they may have had a slightly better chance. But yeah, I was genuinely surprised that about 40% of the vote was the most recent iPhones, the 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max.
I guess that makes sense.
Then the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 12 not making it into that top 5 was interesting to me.
I'll say mini owners in the audience really shooting yourselves in the foot not buying the 13 mini, right? The rhetoric is...
Well, because they knew.
Yeah.
They knew at that point it wasn't going to come back, you know.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point, too, I think, a little bit. Like, I mean, is a phone canceled if no one buys it, you know?
Exactly.
Who knows?
So that is the first round. Second round, what is your favorite wearable device? Was the question asked to passionate ones.
Favorite wearable?
Yeah. These are product classes, not model years, sizes, or numbered revisions.
Whoa. Okay.
So we're talking straight up product classes. So for example, I mean, like if we go back to laptops as an example, it was like just MacBook Pro, not MacBook Pro model year, whatever, not MacBook Pro this size. This is just straight up product classes.
Okay.
Follow?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to flip a coin. And Federico's going to be heads.
Tails.
Okay, but it's tails. So
Obviously.
so you said that for yourself. You know what I mean?
Being first hasn't helped me at all so far. So
This is a very good point. So favorite wearable, Steven, you're up first.
Apple Watch.
You get 50 points as the highest answer.
Obviously. Yeah. AirPods Pro.
Is the second highest answer. That's 40 points to Federico.
Is that the answer for all AirPods?
Nope, that was just AirPods Pro. I appreciate that.
So
you
you
asked.
did separate them a little bit.
AirPods Pro is its own product,
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Product classes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a product class.
Okay.
You see, but who's saying right? So Apple Watch, that's its own thing, right?
Okay. I was just trying to clarify.
Well, no, you weren't clarifying. You said I did it wrong. I'm Quizmaster. All right. You don't come to me with your questions. I come to you with questions.
I'm going to say the regular AirPods.
That is 30 points for Steven. Do you feel better now?
I do.
You want to complain again?
No.
No, because you get your 30 points.
I'm going to go with AirPods Max.
Will that be a clean sweep? No, it will not. AirPods Max did not find its way onto the
Interesting.
list.
Wow. So we have 3 of the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Fitbit.
Fitbit is not in the top 5.
I am going to go with Beats Fit Pro.
Interesting. 3 people said Beats Fit Pro, but that was not enough to make
I
it
see you.
onto the list.
I see you and I respect you.
14 people said Fitbit, by the way.
So not great there
Wasn't
either.
enough. AirPods Max was 12. More people with Fitbits than AirPods Max.
I'm not familiar enough with the Beats products, I feel like. So you said the Beat Fit Pro?
Mm-hmm.
They're the little... I'm gonna say Power Beats Pro by Beats.
Power Beats Pro, just 2 people, so that is not enough to make it onto the list.
One of them was probably my spouse.
Yep.
Okay.
Wearable device.
Wearable.
Yeah, I'm going to give you one more chance each, and I'm going to give you a clue.
These are all product classes. Like, are there generic names in this list?
What does generic name mean? I'm not necessarily going to give you the answer to this question, but can you give me an example?
No, it's
Okay.
because you wouldn't be able to reply. I'm gonna go with the Sony XM4. headphones.
Do you mean the Sony WH-1000 XM4?
Yeah.
3 people answered, so that's not enough.
Wow. Okay.
So we're really good at picking obscure wearables.
Well, I mean, you're picking things. You're having a good run, right? Like everything you've said is on the list.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in the top 5.
Okay.
So we've picked Apple Watch, AirPods Pro.
You have picked
AirPods.
Apple Watch, which is the top answer, AirPods Pro, which was the second highest answer, and AirPods, which is the third highest answer. Things you have picked that are not in the top 5 are AirPods Max, Fitbit, Beats Fit Pro, Power Beats Pro, and the Sony XM4.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is Steven. This is your
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
I'm just confirming here, and then Federico, you get one more. Then I'm going to give you a clue.
I'm going to say what is it? The Oya ring, whatever it is. The
Oura. Ring.
Yeah.
Well, it made it to 4 people. Said yes. One person spelled it really wrong, which was funny to me. They spelled it like A-U-H-A, but I knew what they meant.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of that. You know, there's a lot of that. Like I have to go
like
in.
Europe.
Yeah, there's a lot of like people write full sentences to me in these answers. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I'm gonna go with these with a different kind of pick. I'm gonna say a regular watch.
At the 5th highest answer with 10 points is analog watch.
Okay.
So now, Federico, you have negated my clue. There will be no clue now.
Okay. Ooh.
So I
There's
get
still one more on the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Analog watch.
You're going to get one more round each.
Man, I don't know. What else is out there?
I guess what constitutes wearable.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to say an Oculus headset. You wear it?
That is the first answer that isn't on here. No one
thinks about that as a wearable.
One person said MetaQuest. One person said MetaQuest.
Okay.
But so that's not enough.
And I'm gonna go. So I get one more. Is that right?
Yeah. This is the final guess.
I am going to go. I guess the problem is what you considered wearable.
Yeah.
In your classification. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with sunglasses.
Wait. We have one person said snap spectacles. We had, I think someone said those Ray-Ban things, but I can't find them. So yeah, the answer is no. Okay, so
what was
the thing
it?
None.
Oh, that's a trick question.
Boy,
It's not a trick. I've done it before. I've given you this before. The question of what was your operating system? One of the answers in the top 5 was none.
Yeah, okay.
I had to include this because none was answered by 4.5% of people.
Wow.
Said none.
Okay.
So it was such a huge... Because then from there, the highest was 1.3%. So it was 4 times the next answer.
Wow.
They don't wear anything. It's,
No, they wear no clothes. They wear nothing on them.
If you think about it, everything is a wearable.
Apple Watch was 56.2%. AirPods Pro was 17.2%. Regular AirPods was 8.4%. None was 4.5%. Analog Watch was 1.4%. AirPods Max was 1.1%. And then it kind of just went down from there. Oh, sorry, Fitbit was 1.3%. 0.8% of people still rocking a Pebble.
Wow.
Pebble. Wow, represent. Okay.
That's more than the Garmin's.
I was gonna say Garmin if I had another shot. I was gonna go with like one of the Garmin smartwatches, but yeah, okay.
Hey, do you think the Pebble people like getting stoned?
Nice, I like that. Just as a comparison, 0.9% of people said Apple Watch SE. So it's basically as many people. So there was 9 people that wear an Apple Watch SE, and there are 8 that said Pebble. Now, of course, because of the way it's questioned, those people may have just thought that meant of all time. So the results now at the end of the second round is 160 points to Federico, 120 points to Stephen.
Okay.
So we're going to do the third round now. The question is, actually, I'm going to do the coin flip first, and I'm going to say tails for Stephen.
Heads.
Federico gets to answer first.
Okay.
All right.
The question is, what is your favorite computer?
Wait, we did this last time,
No.
didn't we?
We did first computer and current computer.
Okay, so these are the questions we did last time. First Apple product, operating system at school, first iPhone, OS you use most, which computer do you use?
Okay. All right.
This question is, what is your favorite computer?
Okay. What are you looking for?
Product classes. They are not
Okay.
model years, sizes, or variations within a model by name or processor.
Okay. MacBook Pro.
Wow, you didn't even give me any chance. I was too busy trying to complain to someone in the Discord who says I spelled favorite wrong because I put a U in it. But I didn't even get time to burn that person down because Federico's coming in there and claiming the top answer of 50 points for MacBook Pro.
I'm going to go with MacBook Air.
Steven's coming in and taking the second highest answer, getting 40 points for MacBook Air.
I'm torn between two. iPad Pro.
He speaks from the heart, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like this one comes with a lot of expectation from Federico. Like, it's not just wanting the points, it's also wanting, like, the life validation
Yeah.
that comes with this answer. You get life validation to the tune of 20 points. iPad Pro was the fourth highest answer on the favorite computer list.
Okay.
How does that feel? Is that good? Is that enough?
Feels good. Feels good.
Okay,
Yeah.
you just wanted it in there, right? That's
Yeah,
just all you want.
It's gotta be in there. It has to be in there. Okay.
Going to go with iMac.
That's a bold one, Stephen. Actually, before I answer you, why iMac?
I think, a lot of people who have used a desktop, it's what they've used. It's fun and colorful. I feel like even if you don't own one, maybe you used one in school or have a fond memory of it somehow.
So on the board is the third and fifth highest answer. Which one do you think it is?
I think I got the third one.
I think the third.
You're correct. That gets you 30 points.
Yeah.
iMac is the third highest answer. So all that is left on the board is the fifth highest answer, and you've run it so far. You've run the table, all right? So you've got 50 points for MacBook Pro, 40 points for MacBook Air, 30 for iMac, 20 for iPad Pro. 70 points each so far in this round.
I will go with a PC.
PC. Unfortunately, the streak has been broken. PC is not in our top 5 answers.
Kind of thought maybe the gaming PC people would come out and storm.
Yeah.
It was there. It was there. Custom-built PC was 2.8% of people.
Okay.
But not the favorite. Interesting.
28 in total, which is actually kind of funny. 28, 2.8.
So we've got MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iMac, iPad Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, like, is it a Mac or another iPad?
Yeah.
But Stephen,
Yeah.
what is a computer, you know?
What is a computer?
I think about 6 people put that in.
Of course they did.
They would just... Oh, no, 3. I left them in on this one. 3 people. Because what I wanted to do, really, is just for those 3 people, I just want them to know that they're not as funny as they think they are, right? Because each one of those 3 people were like, haha, here's my original joke, right? But it wasn't that original.
Give that on Twitter sometimes. You get a bunch of replies that'll say the same thing.
Yeah, when I was doing that, I was thinking of that exact thing, which is like, if you have a fun joke, like I do this. If I see someone's tweet something and I got a funny joke, I just check the answers. Like, I check the tweets, I should say, like the responses. Have people made this joke? Has this joke been made 20 times? If it has, I'm not going to make it, you know? This is advice that I would like to impart upon everyone.
It's good. You're a social media guru.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say iPad Air.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Huh.
Just 6 people answered iPad Air. That is not enough to make it.
I'm gonna go with Mac Studio.
Mac Studio coming in there with Federico. Why Mac Studio?
Well, because I think people have a tendency to think their favorite thing is their most recent thing. People who got the Mac Studio seem to be really into it. So that was my thinking.
Not enough of them. Just 22 people put Mac Studio on the list, which does not put it in the top 5.
Wow.
Huh.
It crushed the iPad Air, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did. Poor iPad Air. 22 to 6.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I'm going to go with Federico's thinking. I do think there's something to explore another time where we think the most recent thing is the best or favorite thing. That's really something we should explore. But I'm going to go with the Mac Pro.
I combined Mac Pros, as you would imagine, right?
Oh no, that's not a good sign. And I got 1.
15. 15.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Mac Studio destroyed the Mac Pro.
Yeah, well, that's true in a lot of ways I don't want to think about, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm torn between 2.
I was going to say one more round, but I'm enjoying this one too much, actually. So I want you to keep going.
All right,
I feel like it's something silly that we're just overlooking.
I don't know.
We're out of Macs, just about. There's one more.
No, I'm gonna go with Mac Mini.
21 people said Mac Mini, so less than the Mac Studio.
Wow.
Come on.
So we're out of Macs.
Get the Mac Mini. How many people, I know it's 21, but like Mac Mini,
There's some passionate Mac Mini people out there.
Sure.
They got the
There's
small.
21 of them. We
small
know that.
love.
We know at least there's 21.
We said PC, and you, Myke, interpreted that as custom-built PC.
Because sure. That I did interpret that as custom.
So I feel like
PC, yeah.
PC Notebook is still out there, but I don't see that being the 5th most favorited computer by our audience. But we're out of Macintoshes unless we do something old, which I don't think we're going to do. Maybe the Apple II people came out in force again.
Yeah, I was thinking about.
You know
that.
what? In honor of those heroes, the Apple
You're
II.
going for it.
Oh, Stephen.
You went for it.
This is a very good guess. We heard from actually quite a number of those people.
I did. I really enjoyed those emails.
That all of them listened to the show, so I expected to hear from a bunch of them. But only 8 of those people were willing to say it was their favorite computer.
They didn't show up for this one. I'm sorry. Okay, well,
One more round.
yeah, and there's
Federico's
one
people,
missing
one
iPad. Well, there's 2 missing iPads, but I guess I'm going with iPad Mini at this point.
Just 9 people,
Come on.
which
okay.
I was pretty upset about that, to be honest.
Is the answer none again? Because I can't handle that.
I will tell you, no, it is not none. I will
Okay.
give you that. It is not none. There is something on this list.
What in the world could it be?
Give us one more round. Come on. It's got to be so.
All right, you'll get one more go. You get one. So, Stephen, you get 2. Federico, you get 1 more.
Okay, thank you.
Right?
Okay.
So Steven's up now.
I'm going to go PC laptop.
No, that's not on there.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
thing about custom-built PC is that's what people answer. People don't build their own laptops, right? So
Why
I have
is
a
it?
bunch of laptops on this list, right? But none of them are going to get you what you want. Like,
And you're not willing to combine all PC laptops into one broad category?
no. Even if I did, it wouldn't be enough to get the 5th highest
Okay,
answer.
that's what I want to know. I want to know that you're
Right,
not
there would be
holding
like
out on
10.
me.
I've got
Okay.
I've got 3 people that have got various Dell XPSs. We've
a good
got
laptop.
Yeah.
2 people that have got like a XPS 15. We've got one
any-
person who put framework laptop and basically answered framework laptop anywhere they could. I've seen that in it so many
yeah.
times. I think people that have those are pretty passionate.
They
you
are.
know, So.
I'm sort of thinking if Myke said the answer is not none.
Wait, you got one more round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we each
said-
have one
all
more
right,
pick.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna tell you this. 42 people gave this answer.
Yeah.
To put that into context, The iPad Pro got 85.
So I'm sort of wondering if they tried to be clever with this answer and it's not necessarily a computer.
What's a console, you know?
Well, you know what? At this point, I mean, what am I gonna guess? Like a random obscure computer? No, I'm gonna go with iPhone.
iPhone is answered 24 people,
Okay.
making it more than the Mac Studio or more than the Mac Mini. Not enough.
Wow.
Stephen, you have the final guess here.
With this, I'm going to lean into maybe people didn't give you a complete answer. And so the number is artificially high for just plain, simple iPad.
Yeah.
21 people.
No, it's not it.
I'm about to blow a hole in your recency theory when I tell you the fifth highest answer with 42 responses is MacBook.
Wow.
MacBook.
Really?
MacBook. More than the Mac Pro, more than the Mac Studio.
That picks up people who love the 12-inch little one, like Underscore and Casey.
Yep.
But it also picks up people who like the white and black plastic ones. Dang, I should have thought of that.
Yeah. I got 5 iBooks. And
Yes.
if they were in there, I don't remember now, but I would have combined those that you just mentioned. But similarly, iMac benefited from a lot of older iMacs in there. So iMac G4 and stuff was all in that list. They all got compressed into iMac. So iMac got that bump, but MacBook.
That's incredible. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the third round, we're at 230 points to Federico, 190 points to Stephen.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ladder. At some point or another, most of us will think about the work we've done and the difference we might have made and what we might leave behind. It makes sense why people get life insurance, especially term coverage, which is surprisingly affordable. Why not pay a bit each month to protect your loved ones? If you're asking yourself this question, check out Ladder. It's 100% digital, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork, when you apply for $3 million in coverage or less. You just answer a few questions about your health in an application. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. That's it. Ladder's smart algorithms work in real time, so you'll find out instantly if you're approved. There's no hidden fees. You can cancel at any time and get a full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven history of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. And customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance list in 2021. Life insurance costs more as you age, so now's the time to cross it off your list. Go to ladderlife.com/connected today to see if you're instantly approved. That's Ladder, LADDER. Ladderlife.com/connected, and there's a link in the show notes. Our thanks to Ladder for their support of the show and Relay FM.
Okay, so we move into the penultimate question in today's Passionate Ones round. The fourth question, I should do my coin flip first. So we're going to say Stephen is heads.
Heads.
Okay.
Right.
What I always like when that happens is it's always Federico saying it to himself, like in those moments. So Stephen, you're going to get the first pick at the question. What is your favorite ever iPod?
Favorite ever iPod.
Your favorite ever iPod. Again, product classes, not models.
iPod Nano.
Oof. I like it when you're so, I haven't even got the time to move over to the different tabs in my spreadsheet. When you come in there and get the top answer, there's 50
Boom.
points going to Stephen there for iPod Nano.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with just iPod, the classic, basically.
Are we going to do it? I don't know. We'll see. That is the second highest answer 40 points for Federico. Don't let me down, Stephen. Pick the third highest.
iPod Mini.
Stephen let me down.
Oh, no.
That's the fifth highest answer.
No!
You get 10 points for iPod Mini.
Dang.
Okay.
Say U2. U2 iPod. Say it.
No.
Well, that wouldn't count. That got wrapped into iPod.
That doesn't mean you can't guess it.
Right. That's a good
iPod,
point.
Play the player, not the game.
iPod Touch.
Is the third highest answer going to Federico. 30 points.
iPod Shuffle.
Yeah.
Hold on one moment. I'm just filling in my point spreadsheet here because I accidentally gave Federico 10 points that were meant for Stephen. So I figured that everyone, well, maybe except for Federico's happy that I had to fix that. So that is now fixed. You said iPod Shuffle.
I did.
iPod Shuffle is not in the top 5.
Wait, how many iPods are there?
You tell me, history boy.
Wait, what?
We've done classic.
What's the ranking?
You have answered. Top answer, iPod Nano. That was Stephen. Federico got iPod and iPod Touch for second and third. And the fifth highest answer was iPod Mini at 10 points for Stephen.
And Shuffle is not in the list?
And Shuffle is not in the list.
That's all the big
Are there-
categories. You've done something here.
Have I?
You didn't.
Yes,
You didn't lump
I
all
have-
big iPods into one category.
Yes, I did.
What else is there?
The fourth highest answer, worth 20 points.
Is it the U2 iPod?
No, I told
You
you
said
already.
no.
Not
that would
that.
have been counted in iPod, along with iPod Classic.
And you have iPod photo and video in.
video, photo, all the generations of the original, U2 and Classic are all just iPod.
There's literally nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
Ha!
Whose turn is it?
Ha! Ha!
Whose
It's
turn
my
is it?
turn?
Okay.
None.
20 points goes to Federico.
Wait, was it his turn? Yeah, I said
Yes,
shuffle.
it was my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
I don't like nothing being a possible answer.
57 people said it. 48 people said shuffle.
Amazing.
And 51 people said iPod Mini. So it's one of those things where there are more people that said none than 2 of the actual iPods.
That's
like
wild.
I have to put it in there. Because again, it's like the answer is what do people answer? That's what you're playing, right?
Yeah. I guess that
It's
speaks to
not
the
what the
age of
answers
the
are.
audience as
Like
well.
if 100 people said Zune, it would have been on the list. Because I'm not judging like that, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what are they answering?
Wow.
So the breakdown was 358 people said iPod Nano, which is 35.4%. And 348 people said iPod. I was genuinely really surprised at the fact that the iPod Nano beat iPod because of how many iPods there were
yeah.
and how long it went for, right?
Yeah. But I guess the Nano, like, I think people feel more strongly if they love or hate a certain generation of Nano, and they were more affordable. I get it.
iPod Touch was 148 people at 14.7%. Then none was 57 people at 5.6%. The iPod Mini was 51 people. The iPod Shuffle was 48.
Okay.
So at the end of that round, it's 320 points to Federico, 250 points to Stephen.
Okay.
Stephen can actually still win this round today. It is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to flip a coin for our final question of the day, and I'm going to say Federico is heads.
Tails.
Okay. And I'm just going to say I think for Stephen's sake, especially when looking at him wanting to win this, I think this might be best for him because this question is, what is your favorite app?
Ooh.
Your favorite app.
What is your favorite app?
Oh, this is a good
That is a
one.
good one.
No qualifiers on this one.
And I'm going to play to the fact that we're a podcast, and I'm going to say Overcast.
Overcast?
Yeah.
Top answer.
Whoa.
50 points
Thank you.
going to Steven.
Amazing.
As you can imagine, this was the highest amount of actual usable answers that I got. From after everything was counted up together, there is a total of 258 apps in this list. There's so many that have just one.
How many did Remember the Milk get?
I will answer that question for you either when you choose it or afterwards.
Okay.
I will go with Safari.
Safari is
Yeah.
not in the top 5.
Wow. Okay.
Safari was answered by 25 people.
Huh.
Big web energy.
Okay.
Federico, I'm actually pretty surprised that you struck out on your first guess. I
Yeah.
was not expecting that.
Big app boy over there. Should have had John play for you. I'm going to say Tweetbot.
Tweetbot is the 5th highest answer. So Steven collects another 10 points.
I'm gonna go with
Federico's shaken right now.
He is.
Right? You can feel it.
No, but
There's
I'm
so much
torn
on the
between
line.
2.
I just want to state right now, it is now in this round, 320 points to Federico, 310 to Steven. You see how that turned around? That turned around fast.
I will go with Shortcuts.
Shortcuts is not in the top 5. You're overthinking this, man.
I see. So it's all third-party apps. All third-party apps.
11.
Wow.
Okay. I see how this question was answered then. All right, cool.
I'm going to say... I'm trying to think of categories that people are amped about, right? People have strong opinions about. I'm going to say OmniFocus.
OmniFocus is not in the top 5. You're back in the race, Federico.
Okay.
OmniFocus was answered by 7 people.
Timery.
Ooh.
I see you're playing like the passion, right? You're thinking like, what do people really love?
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Timery, just 4 people.
Not a good
enough.
answer.
It's not in the top 5.
What? Okay. This is like, I don't even know. Okay.
Man, we're getting murdered.
What?
I'm
What is this
actually really
question?
surprised about this. This is great.
This is brutal.
You have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest answers available.
My guess is that Instagram is on the list, so I'm going to say Instagram.
Instagram is on a list,
Oh, no.
but it is not on the list you're looking for. 3 people
Wow.
said that
Okay.
Instagram was their favorite app.
Hold on.
Oh, here he comes. Stand back.
Apollo.
Oh, that's good.
Ding, 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 ding. There you go. 2nd highest answer. I cannot believe. So, Federico, remind me, you do a public vote, right?
Yeah. I gotta think like that. You're right. And that was
Because
my
as
mistake.
somebody who does the upgradies,
I'm
Apollo
thinking
is always number
I
1.
know.
And
I know.
Every single time. So
I know.
That was what I was specifically surprised that Federico had not said Apollo.
Don't worry. I got you now. Yeah.
Okay. That's changed the way I'm going to think about it. And I'm going to pick Carrot Weather.
There he goes. They're back on the board. The 3rd highest answer goes to Steven.
Okay. I am going to go. I'm torn between 2, but I'm gonna go with Drafts.
Drafts was answered by 17 people. Is that enough to make it the 4th highest answer? No, it is not.
Okay.
If I get this right, it's going to be so glorious.
Do you know why it will be glorious?
Because it's Obsidian.
Because you will tie.
And I will tie, and I'm going to pick his favorite app, and I'm going to say it's Obsidian.
You should totally tie with Obsidian. Yes, go for it. Yes.
If this was pro wrestling and things were like concocted, that is how this would end.
Mm-hmm.
But 21 people answering Obsidian is not enough.
Not enough.
Okay.
Well, they're too busy manicuring their perfect knowledge systems.
Yep. Those people, they wrote their answers in Obsidian. I didn't see them. This is
the sync is kind of iffy, you know?
They can't get it to me.
Based on what I usually see in public votes, I'm going to go with things.
Oh.
So this is, again, like, this is going back to that, like, you know, the beautiful design and the things people care about. But at 19 people, not enough.
Wow.
Gonna keep this one going. I'm loving this.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay.
This might be, I think, the highest amount of times you've both struck out. There's 8 things you've given me between the two of you that are not in the top 5.
Yeah, that's bad. Favorite app. I'm gonna stick with my feeling that it's some sort of knowledge app, and I'm gonna say Craft.
Yeah, good pick. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, good pick.
Now, Obsidian was 21 people, right?
Yeah.
Craft is just 20.
Ooh.
Not enough.
Huh.
Is it none?
No.
I don't like any apps.
Let me just check. Did anybody say that? One person.
One person hates apps.
One person. No, actually two people. One person said not applicable. One person said none. Because it was just the two, I didn't bother combining them. Those people have no joy.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
So, Federico, you were second. So, I'm going to give you your answer. Then I'm going to give you just a bit of a clue. And then I think I'm going to give you 2 more rounds each.
Okay, so it's my turn now?
Yep.
No. Yeah, okay, it's my turn now. Cool. So, I will go with... He said Craft already. So that doesn't apply. Reader.
Didn't need to give you that clue because Federico got it.
Yeah.
Reader was the 4th highest answer. There was a total of 31 people
Okay.
that said Reader. You see how we started to get really small at that point?
Yeah.
Because you had 25% of people said Overcast, then 9% of people said Apollo, 4.1% of people said Carrot Weather, and then it started going down from there into much, much smaller numbers.
I do like that we have 2 RSS-based apps in there. That's fun.
People love RSS and social media.
So tell me about Remember the Milk.
Yeah, where is it? Remember the Milk.
Also I want to know about shortcuts also. Oh, you said it already, I think.
Unfortunately, you didn't fill this out, Steven, so no people.
Wow. Harsh.
Shortcuts, 11.
Yeah, you said 11 people. Okay.
11. Notes, Apple Notes, 2.
Wow. What about Discord?
One person said App Store.
John.
10 people. 10 people said Discord.
What about Slack? Because I think it won. I think Slack won an early upgradies, and my guess is that it's fallen from grace big time.
0.
Yeah.
0 people said Slack.
It went from cool to being the business app, right? And
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't even just, it was that for sure, but also that they just stopped doing anything to it that people like us cared about and just went in a different direction, right? We spoke about this kind of stuff a bunch on the show before. Are there any others that you are interested in knowing more about?
Castro, Peacock.
Castro got 11? No, 10. Peacock got 1. Messages got 6.
What about Spotify?
Spotify was 4.
wow.
Okay.
That's the end of the quiz. At the end of today's quiz, Federico has 380 points. Steven has 340 points.
Yes.
That makes Federico the winner again of the Passionate Ones round quizzes. This brings the overall score to Steven at 652 points, Federico at 831 points.
Wow. Okay.
He's a man of the people. It cannot be denied.
I can't wait for the day when I just think up a 1,000 point question.
That's got to be good.
I don't know what it's going to be. But like at some point, I'm just gonna do it. So that's the end of the quiz for this episode of Connected.
And it's the end of the episode. Look at that.
Goodbye, rest of the topics. Myke came in. See you later.
Yeah, we have a topic we've bumped out a couple times now. We will eventually get to it.
We will.
If you want to find links to stuff we spoke about, head on over to the website at relay.fm/connected/406. Those links are also in your podcast player, no matter how popular it is. If you want to send us email with feedback or follow-up, you can do that from the web. There's a link to email us from there. Or you can find us on Twitter. Myke is on Twitter as iMyke, IMYKE. Myke hosts a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM. You can find Federico online at Viticci, Viticci, and he's the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net. If you haven't read their impressions and previews of the public betas, go check them out. I learned a bunch from reading them, even though I've been running all the betas. Still stuff I didn't know. So go check it out. You can follow me on Twitter as ISMH, and you can find a link to my Kickstarter in the show notes. I'd love it if you would go check that out. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SourceGraph, Bombas, Indeed, and Ladder. I'd like to thank our members. If you want to join and get a longer ad-free version of the show, there's a couple of buttons right at the top of the website. There's also a link in the show notes where you can get Connected Pro each and every week. Until next time, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.